I wonder how many people today are watching this message right now and you're trying to do it like someone else, you're trying to be just like somebody else, you're just a copycat, and you're wondering, how come I feel stuck? How come I can't move forward? I got a feeling, why don't you shed off that other person's armor and why don't you walk it out the way God called you to walk it out?
I have learned that every blessing doesn't come to stay. Every relationship wasn't meant to last. Every friend is not going to be a lifelong friend. God will send people in your life for a season because you needed that at that time in your life. And if they walk away, don't stand there at the tomb of what used to be and cry over what was, because if you'd have needed them for the future, they would have stayed. Either you take on the shape of your environment or you resist it and transform by the renewing of your mind. Everything you've ever changed about your life started in your head. It started in your head. It started in your mind. It started with a decision. It all starts in your mind. If you witness failure all your life, you're either going to decide to break the cycle, or without you being conscious of it, you're a part of the cycle. You have became a duplicate of your mother and your father. You have became a duplicate of everything and everybody that you grew up around. Because why? That is your point of reference. That is the blueprint. You have became your mother and father without you knowing. Here's a little secret. I don't drink and I don't smoke. I don't do any type of drugs ever, because my life as a kid was consumed in all forms of alcohol and drug abuse. It completely turned me off. I decided I don't want to be like my mom or my daddy. People in my family, my boys, my homegirls, my surrounding, I want nothing to do with it. It was a conscious decision. I could have easily became a duplicate.
And what you believe about what you can be, and what you believe about what you have inside of you, and what you believe about what God called you to do, and what you believe about what you're going through, that's what I'm talking about. The currency of confidence.
Sometimes it takes you a minute to process what to do when right goes wrong. You're not ready for a new relationship because you can't figure out what happened in the old relationship, because you said, I gave my very best and it went wrong, and so I have lost confidence in my best. Because you left me with the notion that maybe my best isn't good enough. So I'm not sure that anybody will ever see my best again. Because I did it from my heart. I did it from my heart. And now I know what young people do not know. Is that right can go wrong.
When you're an eagle, you're meant to rise up. We don't rise up when everything's going well. We rise up regardless. You're trained to rise up on your worst day. That's who you are. In the worst of circumstances. No place for whining, complaining, being anxious, being negative. It's totally unnecessary.
But when you borrow confidence from the wrong places, the interest rate is ridiculous. I'm talking about When you get in a relationship where you have to compromise your values to get your needs met, y'all, that's worse than the check cash in place. It's an interest rate. And let me tell you another thing. While I got you fired up about all the people that you kept going to because you wanted them to validate you, but they can't because they're not God. They didn't make it. They don't know you like that. And they have their own insecurities. So leave them alone and get it from God. You keep trying to borrow confidence from people who have insufficient funds. They can't do it. They can't.
As a man, my father was married to my mother for 30 years. I'll find myself looking for someone that reminds me of my mother, because that would be my point of reference. I will find myself trying to do all the things that I witnessed my father do as a husband. That's my point of reference. If my father is successful, he's an entrepreneur, he's constantly grinding, starting up new companies, negotiating, and I see him inspired and motivated all the time about life and career and trying to educate himself and further his way up the success ladder. That will become my blueprint and my point of reference for success. And I'll find myself wanting nothing more than to be a duplicate of my father, because that is my successful point of reference. Have you become a duplicate of your mother? Have you become a duplicate of your father? Have you become a duplicate of your parents, of your environment? So I believe that we were all born individuals. God made me an individual. My head is not connected to anybody else. I am my own man. God made me individually me, so I can do and be and become anything I want to become. What is your point of reference?
The invisible is often more real than the visible. That sometimes the stuff that we collect, that we say is real, is less real than the stuff that we neglect because we can't see it. I'm talking about your state of mind. I'm talking about your relationships with others. I'm talking about the way that you process disappointment, those things. The way that you treat people who can't do anything for you, those things. You have this visible kingdom world, but there is an invisible kingdom within you that is more important than the kingdom around you.
Set your life on fire and seek those who fan your flames. Don't be hanging with no jank-ass jokers that don't help you shine. The prerequisite for spending time with any person is that they nourish and inspire you. They feed your flame. There's been very few times in my life that I looked left or looked right and didn't find a person who believed and supported me. There's always been a person beside me fanning my flames. Look at your last 5 text messages. Are those people feeding your flames or dousing your fire? The people that you spend time with are going to make or break your dreams. Everybody don't deserve to be around you. Look to the people around you. Are those people throwing logs on your fire or are they pissing on it? You got to defend your light with your life.
If you can't detach from yourself, then you can't see yourself. And so, how do you detach from yourself? How do you learn to do that? And a good drill for this is try to imagine the way other people see you and what other people are thinking of you. One place where this happens, and it definitely happened to me, is when I started getting put in charge of things. I started thinking about other people's perspectives. in charge, then what kind of representation are they receiving? And if you work for someone else, it's the same questions. What does the boss see me do? What kind of representation am I making of myself to my boss? So the question becomes, how well do you represent yourself? What shortfalls do you have? Now, when you first start looking, it's like you're looking at an overgrown lawn. There are some big, obvious problems, so you do the broad, just kind of general cut of the grass. You fix some of the big, easy problems. And once you've done that, once you've gotten rid of some of those big, obvious problems, you notice some more detailed problems. So you start trying to fix them.
Opposites in conflict. That seems to be the setup for a human adventure. One contesting against the other, vying for the territory. Would there be light without darkness? We probably wouldn't call it light. What gives us the value of one is the contrast of the other. But darkness is always trying to move in and take all the territory, but if you turn on the light, its energy starts to repel darkness. Darkness begins to move away. And the brighter the light, the further away the darkness must move. If you walk into a dark room and turn on the light, the darkness is what? Gone. But here's the point to remember, not very far. The darkness seems to be, yes, it's gone, but it's waiting for its chance. That if light loses its energy, darkness has a chance now to move back in. The better realistic illustrations, and that's health and illness at odds in your body. Illness trying its best to drive health into a small corner and occupy the territory. And health trying what? To push illness into a small corner. There's this contest going on. Who's going to occupy the territory? If one stays strong, the other's diminished. If the other gains in power, then the other is diminished. So what you must learn to do is cooperate with the positive side of everything in your body, in your life. Sometimes we sabotage our own best interest. The body needs a banana, you send it a Coca-Cola. And the body says, what is the deal here? I'm health trying to drive illness into a small corner. I ordered a banana, you send me a Coca-Cola. So the body could rightfully say what? Whose side are you on? Give us a break here. We need every tool we can get to keep illness at bay. Because if we get weak, I'm telling you, it moves in, takes the territory. So we're in the middle of this contest, and here's what it's called, opposites in conflict. Here's one of the bigger conflicts, liberty and tyranny. Liberty is the absence of tyranny. But even though tyranny is conquered, it's not very far away. The same goes on in your bloodstream. Red corpuscles to nourish like a mother and give life. White corpuscles to fight and kill like a father. White corpuscles say, just show me some infection, I'll kill it. If I don't kill it, what? It killed you. Somebody's gonna get killed in this contest, right? Good, evil, liberty, tyranny, right? Health, illness, winning and losing. There's the struggle going on. But here's the key. It's the only way, it seems, it's the only way to create a human adventure. It doesn't seem to be any other way, currently. Now some speak of a new heaven and a new earth, and maybe the whole arrangement will be different. Could very well be, but in this current experience, it seems like to create an adventure, to create a unique human scenario, we need opposites in conflict. And that's the deal. You've always got to draw a line somewhere and tell illness, hey, you can't have any more. You've got to throw up the barriers, draw a line in the sand. Tyranny cannot be rehabilitated. Tyranny can only be restrained. We must play this game. We must fight this game. But here's what it creates, a great adventure. Let me give you the ultimate now. Could you win if you couldn't lose? And the answer is no, it doesn't seem like it. You couldn't call it winning. You can't win if you couldn't lose. So that's the deal now. Negative, positive. Would there be negative, positive without negative? No, it doesn't seem like it. It seems like this is the current setup. For the foreseeable future. It looks like it's been that way as long as we can remember and as long as the history tells us. So, here's what you want to do if you want the adventure. You must learn to play this game. To work with all the positive forces to defeat the negative forces as early and as soon and as much as possible. To contain the ravages of disease that want to take you early. You got to fight back. You can't just leave it. Somebody says, well, I got my fingers crossed. Not a good philosophy. Jump on the positive side of whatever you want and see if you can't help out in this warfare and this push-shove match. That's the key. Don't neglect a new life if you've started a new life. What if you said to a brand new mother, where is your baby? She says, I have no idea. You would say, no, that isn't right. If you start a new life, you must care for it. You must protect it. You must give it life, give it nourishment. Now here's the other part. You must protect it. That's why the old wise man said, we must learn to love and hate. So underline that. You must learn to love and hate. And the illustration he used was, you must learn to love good and hate evil. To deal with the weeds in your garden, you got to hate weeds. You got to hate them enough to what? Kill them. You can't say, well, poor weeds. Say, no, this ain't the deal, poor weeds. Don't go soft on this stuff now. You got to hate evil. You got to hate the weeds that are out to destroy your garden and rob your children of the nourishment they deserve. You got to take the life of the weeds, or they will take the life of your garden. Somebody's going to get killed. Remember? So, learn the good evil. Now here's the greatest battle in the mind. Here's what you must not become. A victim of yourself. What is that insidious voice inside your own head that says you're too short, it'll never work for you, you're too tall, right? It's over for you. Right? It's never worked for you before. What gives you any idea that it'll work for you now? You've never been able to rise up and take charge of your life. What makes you think you can do it now? There's going to be too many obstacles out there. You'll never overcome them all. What is that insidious voice? It's the same game going on inside your head that's going on in the world. Liberty and tyranny in a push-shove match. And here's what you've got to do. Cooperate with the positive side of your life and let faith drive out doubt. Right? Let winning drive out losing. Let positive drive out negative. But you've got to get into the contest. And why get into the contest? Because that's how you create an adventure. There's no other way. It takes both. You've got to learn to laugh, yes, but that's not what the wise men only said. You can't just learn to laugh and keep on laughing. No, that's silly. It says there's also a time to cry. You've got to learn to both laugh and cry. Then it said you must be so sophisticated as not to laugh when it's time to cry. That now gives you an understanding of what life is all about. Sadness and joy, the contest, the difference. And yet it creates the adventure. It takes both to create an adventure. But here's the adventure: to overcome the evil, to put evil in its place. Just like in your mind, you got to stand guard at the door of your mind and see if you can't suppress, see if you can't do battle with the negative forces. Don't become a victim of yourself. Beware of the thief on the street that's after your purse, but also beware of the thief in your mind that's after your promise. And see if you can't engage in this mental contest and win the day.
welcome back to our channel. Today we are going to talk about the importance of focusing on yourself and not comparing yourself to others. It's easy to get caught up in what everyone else is doing, but the truth is the only person you should be comparing yourself to is the person you will understand. So often we find ourselves scrolling through social media, looking at other people's highlights reels and feeling like we are not doing enough. But the reality is we are not only seeing a small fraction of someone else's life. We don't see the hard work, the struggles, and the failures that they have experienced along the way. And that's okay, because we are not meant to live someone else's life. We are meant to live our life own. When we focus on ourselves, we can set realistic goals and work towards becoming the best version of ourselves. It's about progress, not perfection. Instead of comparing ourselves to others, let's shift our focus to our own growth and importance in development. What are the things that make us happy? What are our passion and dreams? When we focus on ourselves, we can start towards achieving those things. Remember, everyone's journey is unique. What works for someone else may not work for you, and that's okay. It's important to stay true to yourself and your own path. When you focus on ourselves, we can cultivate self-awareness and self-acceptance. We can learn to appreciate our strength and work on our weakness without feeling inadequate compared to others. So let's make a conscious effort to shift our focus back to ourselves. Let's set goals that are meaningful to us and work towards them with determination and perseverance. Let's celebrate our own victories and learn from our setbacks. Let's embrace who we are and where we are in our journey, knowing that we are consistent, evolving and growing. In a world full of distraction and comparison, let's choose to prioritize our own well-being and happiness. Let's focus on ourselves and trust that everything else will fall into place. Remember, you are capable of amazing things and your journey is worth celebrating. So keep your eyes on your own path and keep moving forward. You have got this. you.